The Great Perfection of Wisdom Heart Sutra, spoken by the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, all-seeing Lord, going deeply in perfect wisdom, with perception piercing to the core, saw the 5 heaps as nothing more than emptiness, and crossed away beyond all suffering and dismay. To Shariputra he spoke thus: form is no different from emptiness, and emptiness no different from form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness is exactly form. The same is true for the other 4 heaps: sensation, perception, formations, and mind. Emptiness, O Shari-san, is the nature of every phenomenon. Unborn and undying, not stained, not clean, not increasing at all, nor diminishing. In emptiness, thus, no form or sensation, no perceptions, formations, or the mind's ideation, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no object to see or hear or smell or taste or feel, no realm of sight, and all the rest, to even no realm of consciousness. No delusions, nor any exhaustion of them, no aging or death, nor a hint of their end, no suffering, its causes, nor its fading away, no path to practice, nor wisdom to gain, no attainment at all, and not to attain. The Bodhisattvas, placing their faith in perfect wisdom's great embrace, unsnare their minds, and doing so are free from fear wherever they go. For removed from all confusion, they dwell in nirvana sufferings. Conclusion: the 3 worlds, myriad enlightened ones, depending on this, the perfect wisdom, awaken entirely, irrevocably, and attain anuttara samyak sambodhi. Thus know that this perfection of wisdom is the transcendent incantation. It illuminates all, is surpassed by none, can strip away suffering without exception. It is true and not false, and so I proclaim wisdom's perfection beyond mere word and name. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasam, gate, bodhi, svaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, perfectly gone, Bodhisvaha. One day I hope to stand in the western dwelling place, all of us as one, to climb aboard and sail on the raft of the Buddha's vows. Pilgrim, protector, defender of doomed children, suffering in hell, you bring us to the Pure Land where we may attain our goal. Tatsueji, Jizo, Busatsu. Om ha 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 Vismaya Svaha. Om ha 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 Vismaya Svaha. Om ha 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 Vismaya Svaha. On kakakabi samae soaka. On kakakabi samae soaka. On kakakabi samae soaka. Om, O wondrous one, Svaha. Om Amoga Vairokana Maha Mudra Manipadma Jvala Pravartaya Hum. Om Amoga Vairokana Maha Mudra Manipadma Jvala Pravartaya Hum. Om Amoga Vairokana Maha Mudra Manipadma Jvala Pravartaya Hum. Om Abokya Be Rashano Makbodara Manihana Doma Jimbara Harabari Taya Un. Om Abokya Be Rashano Makbodara Manihan Doma Jimbara Harabari Taya Un. Om Abokya Be Rashano Makbodara Manihan Doma Jimbara Harabari Taya Un. Om, O infallible Vairokana, turn, activate the great mudra, the jewel, lotus, and flame. Hum. Namo Daishi Henjo Kongo, Namo Daishi Henjo Kongo, Namo Daishi Henjo Kongo. This hair is part of the story of Okyo. Okyo was from Shimane-ken, and as a young woman she went to Osaka to work as a geisha. There she fell in love with a young man, and they went back to her hometown and got married. But then she fell in love with another young man, and they plotted to kill her husband, and then they ran away together to Shikoku. They lived for some time in what's now Kagawa Prefecture, and then after a year or so, for some reason, either to hide from authorities or perhaps because they were feeling guilty, they started on the pilgrimage. At some point they got here to Tatsueji, and then something very strange happened. She went to pull the bell rope in front of the hondo, the main hall of the temple, and her hair suddenly stood on end and twisted itself around the bell rope, and it was pulling and pulling, and she was screaming in agony. And her boyfriend, lover, went off to find the head priest to get some help, and he came. I guess first he stopped the bell rope from pulling, and then he asked the story. And she obviously felt guilty, and she told this whole story about how they had killed her husband and run off together. And now she felt terribly sorry. She felt this was a punishment. And the priest agreed it probably was a lesson for her. And he helped extract her hair, but part of her scalp came off with it. And since cutting off a woman's hair is equivalent to becoming a nun, she became a nun. And her lover became a Buddhist postulant. And two different versions of the story. One is she went to live alone in a little hut about 1 kilometer from here, and there's now a rest hut there. And the man either disappeared or went into the temple. Another version of the story is they went and lived in a hut there the rest of their lives. But there's an older story, an older version of the story that I found in a book from 1843. It's got the hair part the same, almost the same, but the rest is quite different. In this story, a young woman from Osaka was a thief, and she ran away to Shikoku. She came on pilgrimage. She prayed at the temple, and as she was leaving, suddenly her hair stood up, and it felt like it was being pulled, but there was nobody there. It was just being pulled up into the air almost. And the priest came, and she said she was sorry, and she became a nun and lived the rest of her life in the little hut. But there was no murder, there was no lover. And so this is part of the reason why Tatsueji is known as a barrier temple. There are several places along the pilgrimage that are considered spiritual barriers, where you have to have made sufficient progress to continue on your pilgrimage. Otherwise, you're supposed to go back to the beginning and start all over again.